Hello everyone, semi-retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and some miscellaneous odds and ends. Whew. Didn't get my sweatshirt pulled down quite right. It's kind of loose around the neck. There, that might keep me warm. It's nice and sunny out today, but it's not very darn warm out. It's about 45 degrees. It is supposed to start warming up here again tomorrow. After a really cold night tonight, it's supposed to break 50 tomorrow, and then 60 on Tuesday. It's supposed to be up by 70 or so by Wednesday or Thursday. So it's not going to stay cold. But I have to say I'm really getting sick of it being this cold. And I know it's not cold at all compared to what it's like back home in Nebraska. But if it's going to be this cold, I might as well stay home and save all this money from being out here on the road. But anyway, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. You might be wondering to yourself, what in the world am I watching here? Well, you're watching me walk. I do try to come up with some semi-interesting things to talk about from time to time. But the main point is I'm out here walking. And the reason that's significant is just a little over 8 months ago, I couldn't even stand up for more than 2.5 minutes without severe pain. Pain in my back, pain in my knees, my ankles, my hips, literally everything. My neck still hurts. My back still hurts, but at least I'm out here walking. And the carnivore diet did that for me. For those of you returning to the channel, welcome back. We're only about 52, 53 subscribers away from 3,000, which is amazing. Absolutely amazing. The sun feels good when I get around here facing into it. It's just still pretty doggone cold out here. But the main thing I want to remind you about right now before we get into today's topic is interacting with the video is what makes it spread. And if you don't want to interact with mine, just go, hit Dr. Barry or Dr. Chafee or any of the other really good people that I talk about. Because the whole point of this is to get the word out. Everybody says it a little bit differently. I try to just show it by example, what the carnivore diet can do for people. And the more we get the word out, the better off the whole world's going to be. But yeah, so share this video, or at least hit the like, leave me a comment down below, or hit the dislike and leave me a comment down below because you don't like me. Either way, comments are interaction. And interacting with the video helps spread the word. If you're still here at this point, you might as well go ahead and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. It's absolutely free. And that also helps the channel out. But today we're going to talk about a little bit about intermittent fasting. It's not going to be a super long talking video because I have several videos on this channel already about intermittent fasting, but I'm trying to cover all the main topics here in January, since everybody's out searching for ways to get healthy in January. I saw a pretty funny one. It was from Larry, the cable guy. And I forget exactly how it goes. It's like, I got a great new business idea. We're going to call it the Resolutions Gym. We're going to be open from January the 1st until March the 11th. And it'll be $50 to join the gym for that much time. And then on March the 12th, when the gym closes, you don't have to lie about your resolution. You can just say, well, my gym closed down. I got no place to go. Seems like a win-win-win for everybody. I don't know. I thought it was funny anyway. But Larry the cable guy's from Nebraska also. So I used to hear him talking to the morning radio hosts before he became famous. He'd call in 3 or 4 times a week and do 3 to 5 minutes on air with the morning radio show. And for those of you that are kind of waiting for an update, my shoulder still hurts just a little bit, but it's definitely getting better. I gonna let it rest another couple of days. Probably not gonna try and get out to the trail tomorrow because it's not gonna be super warm. But hopefully by Tuesday or Wednesday, I can get back out to the park and do some trail hiking. Not that I'm getting bored with just walking around the parking lot and the field behind the church here, but I know a lot of you like to watch me hike on the trails. So I'm kind of anxious to get back out there. And it's a different kind of walking, different kind of hiking. It's a lot harder, but I also think it's a lot better exercise. This is not bad. I mean, I'm walking pretty fast today. I think if you go back and watch, and I'll link it down in the comments, the link to the start of my walking journey, all the way back with the September challenge, I think you'll find that I'm walking a lot faster now than I used to. But anyway, intermittent fasting. What the heck is it? And why do we want to do it? Well, would you be surprised to find out that everyone watching this channel does at least a little bit of intermittent fasting? Because all intermittent fasting means is that there's a certain period of time when you're not eating. And unless you go without sleep, you have a little bit of intermittent fasting every night. Now, unfortunately, if you're still following the SAD diet, which stands for Standard American Diet, and you're eating literally from the time you get up to the time you go to bed, you're only getting somewhere between 6.5 and 8 hours of intermittent fasting, which is barely enough time for your insulin to get close to normal or baseline levels. And then you start eating again, and it spikes way back up with that first glass of orange juice in the morning, and continues on through that bedtime snack. And depending on what that bedtime snack is, your insulin might not even get all the way back down to baseline. Because I know a lot of people that, they have their ice cream as their bedtime snack. So their insulin's been up all day, stayed up all day, and didn't even come close to getting back down. What we try to do with intermittent fasting is we try to extend that period. Ideally, most of you will end up eating 2 meals a day in a 6-hour feeding window, and that's what's called a 6-18. So you'll eat during those 6 hours and then not eat during the 18. And the 18 is the sweet spot for the start of all the good stuff, because after your insulin comes down back down to baseline, it also then takes a while for all the other good effects of fasting to come in. Intermittent fasting. The primary one that we're concerned with is autophagy. And that's basically the body's recycling system. That's where your body starts to take its damaged and weak cells, deconstructs them, and reconstructs them into fresh, new, working properly cells. And for those of us that have lost a bunch of weight, that's where we start to lose some of our loose skin. And if I hadn't done any intermittent fasting, I would probably have folds and folds of loose skin, having lost a little more than 125 pounds now. And then I'd be looking at a long, painful road to getting rid of it, or maybe even having to have surgery, which is what happens to gastric bypass patients. They lose, 100, 150, 200 pounds literally as fast as you can lose it. But then they never, they've not only never learned to eat properly, but now they're adjusting to a gut that's been hacked up. So now you literally have to eat pretty much all day, every day, just to get enough nutrition in your body until you learn what things you can eat and what things you can't, and how to eat it and when to eat it. I'm glad I never went that route. And believe me, I thought about it at certain times in the past. But I'm glad I never did. But anyway, yeah, that's autophagy. And the longer you can keep your insulin down, all the good stuff happens. Inappropriate inflammation flies out of your body. Your blood pressure comes down. Your liver and kidney markers, your liver and kidneys start to heal themselves. All the magic happens when we're in a fasted state. And then, of course, if you can get to 1 meal a day, then you've got 23 to 24 hours a day that you're not eating. And you just have that one meal and then you're done. So it's interesting, the kinds of things that can happen. But you want to build into something like this gradually. You know, I wouldn't, when you're first getting started, I wouldn't even worry about it. The first few weeks to a couple of months, I would just concentrate on adapting, getting yourself fat adapted, getting ready for all the changes that are going to happen to your body. And just eat when you're hungry. And I say this even if you get into, you know, one meal a day or 2 meals a day. Even later in your journey, if something happens and you end up hungry one day, go ahead and eat. It's not going to hurt anything, provided you're eating carnivore. I got to breathe just a little bit here because I'm kind of concentrating on walking a lot faster than I have been, even from the beginning. This is a pretty solid clip I'm doing right now. But yeah, when you're first getting started, just eat until you're comfortably stuffed. And I would even eat till you're stuffed and then take just another couple of bites. And then stop and wait till you're hungry again. And the intermittent fasting will happen all by itself. You know, you don't have to say, well, tomorrow's the day I'm going to go and switch from 3 meals a day to 2 meals a day. You don't have to do that. One morning you're just going to wake up and go, nah, I don't really want breakfast today. I don't feel hungry. Or one evening, you're going to be getting ready to cook your evening meal, and you're going to go, no, I don't want that. I can wait till morning. I'm not hungry. So you wait. And it'll just happen. You will naturally end up, after a couple of months to 3 months, in most cases, you'll end up where your body wants you to be. So you'll end up, you know, eating twice a day in a 6-hour window, or you'll end up at 1 meal a day. Same thing with extended fasting. I had one of my regulars in the comments ask me if I ever planned for a 48-hour fast. No, I don't. It just happens every once in a while. I used to, because of the church schedule and everything else, I used to plan on not eating on Wednesdays. Sunday's not so bad, because this church has so many people that drive so far to get here. Because, I mean, we're out in the middle of nowhere, and, I mean, the town nearby only has like 50 people in it. And we'll have anywhere from 3 to 350 on property on a Sunday. So, they're driving from some distance away. And most churches, including this one, the way this one used to be, they'd have their, the Sunday school at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then church at 11. And then they'd have a break, and you'd come back for Sunday evening service, depending on where you're at, 6, 6:30, 7. Well, they decided to have the second service here start at 1. So first service gets out about 12:15, which gives you 45 minutes to go out to your car and eat whatever lunch you packed, or run down to the mini mart and get a hot dog or whatever it is you're going to have, and then be back in place for the 1 o'clock service. So that even if you're in the choir like I am and have to stay after by 2:30, 2:45, you're done for the day, which leaves me plenty of time to cook dinner in the evening and not get in the way of anything. Wednesdays are kind of hard here because there's activities going on during the day, and then with church at night, starts at 7, gets out at 8 by the time choir practice is over, and then everybody gets done standing around talking. It can be 9:15 to 9:30 before I'm out here on the property by myself. And I don't usually, it doesn't really hurt me, but I don't usually like to eat that late. If I feel like I'm going to get hungry, I'll grab one of my smaller packages of ground beef and have just a little bit of food in the evening. But yeah, I was talking about, do I ever plan for a 48-hour fast? And that's how I got into that little tangent. But once you're on one meal a day, that's 24 hours fasting. So every once in a great while, you're going to be getting ready to cook your one meal a day. Most of the time this isn't going to happen, but every once in a while, you're going to be getting ready to cook your meal and go, nah, I'm just not hungry. So you end up skipping a meal, just like you were doing before when you were eating 3 or 2 meals a day. But now that you're only eating once a day, you skip that meal and wait till about your normal time to eat. Now all of a sudden you've done a 48-hour fast without even really trying. But again, the key to all of this is just let it happen. Don't say, oh, I gotta fast because Bob said I need to get down to one meal a day. Or no, that's not what I'm saying. If you're eating enough every time you sit down to eat, the fasting will eventually happen all on its own. Because every once in a while you're just not going to be hungry. So don't stress about it. Don't let all these other channels get you all bent out of shape, worrying about the schedules and when you should fast and when you shouldn't fast. And there's a lot of terms out there, but all I'm going to say on all these other types of fasting they're talking about, they need to come up with a better name, because fasting, by definition, is not putting anything in your mouth except maybe liquids, water, maybe water with a little bit of electrolytes in it. That's it. To me, that's fasting. There are some people that dry fast. They don't even drink water. I don't recommend that, especially for us older folk that have been metabolically unstable or unwell. I think regardless of anything else, we need to make sure we're getting plenty of water. I'm not saying I'm not saying force water into your system, because too much is bad too. But me being, having had gout my whole life, I have always had a lot of water. And Miss Jessica and her husband are coming this way. So when they get close, I'm going to kind of tip the camera down so we don't catch them in the shot. Unless you guys want to say hello to my YouTube channel. No. Yeah, I didn't think so. They're almost always the last two here. I mean, he's the youth pastor. She's the church secretary. Between them, they are almost always here. And here comes Brother Brandon back, the outreach minister. I wonder what he forgot. But, yeah, don't force it. Don't say, oh, I really need to fast. Especially for the first few months. Because your body is putting in a lot of work just to heal itself when you first start this way of eating. The first thing you have to do is adjust. And even if you've made a good quality slow transition, the first week or two on full-blown carnivore is going to be rough. As is any time you change your diet. You're going to have stomach issues, you're going to have digestion issues, you're going to have bathroom issues. There are a few people that actually do get constipated because they're not getting enough electrolytes or whatever in. But for the most part, the bathroom issues are on the other end of the spectrum from constipation. We'll just leave it at that. So don't feel like you have to fast. If you still get hungry, even if you're 4, 5, 6 months into this thing. Now, if you're 6 months in and still eating 3 meals a day, I would question what you're eating and how much you're eating. Because I don't know very many people that do 3 meals a day for an extended period of time on a carnivore diet. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but most of the people, even those that I've talked to that are like, oh, I gotta have my 3 meals a day. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Yeah, that was a really, really good advertising campaign by a major food company. There's absolutely no science behind breakfast being the most important meal of the day. But there are very few of them that after 4, 5, 6 months of true strict carnivore are eating 3 meals a day. Because by that time you've learned what your ghrelin response feels like, which is your satiety hormone. You've learned enough. You're starting to eat enough. You got high enough fat content in your food. You're finally getting it all figured out, and you're just not going to be hungry. I mean, I had almost 2.5 pounds of roast last night for my dinner. I've decided that if I get hungry, because I still don't feel like I'm going to get hungry today because I ate a lot of roast late yesterday. I've got those hamburger patties that I can pull 3 or 4 of them out of the bag and throw them in a skillet, even frozen. It'll only take 15-20 minutes to cook them up right. So I don't really have to plan. If I get hungry, I'll throw some burgers on. Or I might just open up a package of those eggs and eat 2 or 3 hard-boiled eggs and see how that makes me feel if I get hungry, right? Like I said, right now, I don't even feel like I'm going to get hungry today. But we'll see how it goes. But I did want to get some walking in today. So I got started, it was a little bit after 3 East Coast time. And we're coming down into the really short days up, the run to January 21st, which is the shortest day of the year. And sundown is like 5:22 tonight, which means by 5 o'clock there's not going to be enough light out here to film with. So I wanted to get out here as quick as I could and get some walking in, get a video made for you guys, share my thoughts for the day. I had some other things I wanted to talk about, but as usual, I'm sorry, I don't remember what they were. I'm sure I'll think of 1 or 2 of them, and we'll cover that at the end. But for now, let's cue the music. Okay, cut the music. Thank you. So, just remember, and now, is there anything dangerous about forced fasting? No. If you want to do a 48-hour or 72-hour fast, and you've got the willpower to push through it, there's nothing dangerous about that. But me personally, I don't enjoy fasting on purpose. I tried it one time, and it was miserable. So I recommend you just let it come to you naturally. I ended up slowing down there those last couple of laps. I was starting to get tired. It's been a long couple of days. I'm tired of being cold. I'm ready for the weather to warm back up again. But as you can see from most of my laps here, the shadows are already starting to get really long. So I'm missing out on a lot of good sunlight for good lighting to talk to you guys. So I may come back out and do a little more walking, but I'm not going to film it. Everyone have a great day. Remember, we're about halfway through with the January challenge. So stay the course. Keep doing what you're doing. Hang in there. Don't forget to get out there. Be 1% better today, folks. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.